Breaking news into the newsroom late tonight and first right now on the night team. It's a horrific case of alleged child abuse tonight. A 1- and 2-year-old discovered badly injured in Louisville today, and some of the details are just too extreme to broadcast. Hello everybody, it's our top story. I'm Doug Proffitt. Under arrest tonight, these parents from Valley Station, 27-year-old Nicholas Shanks and 25-year-old Shelby Coons. Police say they were called by U of L Hospital Southwest, where the 2-year-old had been brought back to life. That 2-year-old had very severe injuries. The police report says detectives and a Child Protective Services caseworker then found a 1-year-old child in the master bedroom of the Valley Station home. That child had also been badly beaten, according to police, with severe injuries. Now, here's some of the charges tonight: assault, criminal abuse, endangering the welfare of a minor. Tonight, both children are at Norton Children's Hospital. Police are calling this, quote, a significant case of abuse, saying both parents failed to call EMS for their badly injured kids. Now, we're moving to southern Indiana, where we've been following another breaking story tonight. A man accused of child sex abuse is dead in Jeffersonville, Indiana. Jeffersonville police were serving a search warrant based on those allegations at the man's residence on Marigold Drive in Jeffersonville. While officers were talking with a woman in the house, a gunshot was heard inside. Police found the man with a gunshot wound. Tonight, Jeffersonville police say he took his own life. The scene remains active as police are still investigating. And then new tonight, a man is charged in connection with a Parkland neighborhood murder that happened on November 26 last year. 22-year-old Ryan Sims is charged with murder and receiving a stolen firearm, which police say was the weapon used in this crime. Sims had also been arrested the day after the shooting for domestic assault charges. According to LMPD records, the victim knocked on an apartment door when Sims produced a handgun and shot him in the chest multiple times. His arraignment for the murder charge is tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And right now, new tonight, we have new information for you about last night's crazy traffic mess on I-71 near the Gene Snyder Freeway. You saw it as breaking news coverage on this very newscast. Metro Police tell us today that this was a 6-hour-long bottleneck on I-71 in the East End after a crash just after 9 p.m. last night involving a semi and a car. One person was taken to the hospital, we learned today. That person had non-life-threatening injuries. Officers finally clearing the scene at about 3 this morning. Well, the other big crash we showed you was right on the East End Bridge. That took hours to clear, and right now we switched to a winter weather advisory to tell you about for overnight into the morning. And Chief Meteorologist Mallory Schnell is here with me. And Mallory, is this going to be another mess now for the morning hours tomorrow?
It's going to be another potential mess, but a different kind of mess. So we're not looking at really squalls with the snow overnight and into tomorrow morning. It's just the fact that the grounds are now very cold. The road is very cold, and we could have a dusting to a 1/2 inch of snowfall before the morning commute. So something to keep in mind as you plan ahead for the day tomorrow. Allow yourself extra time to get where you need to go. Temperatures have already dropped into the teens and lower 20s. We are dry for now, but take a look at where that snow currently is, right around St. Louis. So that light band of snow will continue to track eastward as we head into late tonight and early tomorrow morning. And because of that, we do have a winter weather advisory in place along the 64 corridor. Once again, not due to the amount of snow, but the timing and potential impacts of it. We'll take a full look at our hour-by-hour forecast for Friday and Saturday snow chances. That's coming up here in a few minutes. Doug?
Mallory, thank you. A story of high interest happening today. Kentucky's Cabinet and Health and Family Services reporting the first case of measles in 2026. A resident of Jessamine County, that's down in central Kentucky, got it after an infected out-of-state traveler visited Lexington, not far from Jessamine County. The Jessamine County resident was then exposed to measles. Currently, the risk to the broader public, we are told, remains low. The state says receiving 2 doses of the measles vaccine is 97% effective against the contagious measles virus. All new right now on the night team. Drugs, money, guns, and more were seized in a massive federal drug bust this weekend, spanning to Detroit, Michigan, Detroit to Louisville. This is the second large drug arrest in the last 6 months. So new tonight, WHAS11 night team's Clarice Shaley is hearing from outreach programs about the major operation, one of many we've seen lately.
that's a win.
Laid out on tables and on pictures displayed are guns, money, and drugs, all confiscated in a major bust over the weekend.
Lives were saved this weekend because of this work.
Federal officials partnered with local law enforcement to dismantle a drug trafficking operation from Detroit, Michigan to Louisville. Hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of methamphetamine, cocaine, and fentanyl were seized.
The fentanyl that was recovered represents about 1,250 potentially deadly doses.
It's those potentially deadly doses
That's going to be something that's not going to get in somebody's hands, so that's a win.
that Tiny Heron is worried about. Doses that could take lives. She's dedicated her life to street outreach since her husband died from a fentanyl overdose.
It is all about the people, and that's, I think, where we get misguided.
Jennifer Twyman with Vocal Kentucky is worried about people too. Her concern goes to the 9 people who've been arrested.
Often, people that are selling drugs are literally trying to provide for their family. So I think we need to take a hard look at that.
Twyman points to a need for programming to stop a continuous cycle of people committing crimes and being reincarcerated, an issue the city is focusing on when it centers around substance abuse and mental health. In Louisville, Clarice Shaley, WHAS 11 Night Team, on your side.
Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg created the Office of Behavioral Health and appointed the first director. Dr. Maria Lederman sees her new role as an opportunity to be proactive about mental health across the metro in housing, police response, and emergency responses. Earlier tonight, the mayor hosting a night of remembrance to honor all of those lost in 2025 to different forms of violence. This interfaith prayer and candlelight ceremony tonight taking place at Bates Memorial Baptist Church in Smoketown to uplift families, strengthen the community, and slowly heal the wounds.
I just spoke to a mother just a few minutes before I came here today, and she said it perfectly. I don't want you to forget my child. So we have to show them that, we're still working because some of these cases are still open. So those wounds are still festering, and we want them to know that we're here for them. We stand beside them in their grief and hold their hand through their journey, and we're here for them. And who better to do that but the city?
Mayor Greenberg emphasizing the need to end violence in the city so that there is no need for events like this. Next Tuesday night, the JCPS School Board will take up the big proposal from the superintendent, Dr. Brian Yearwood, to cut 300 central office jobs and close 2 different schools. That's just part of the large budget cut plan. WHAS 11 education expert Sam Corbett was with us live here at 5:30 tonight. I asked him how he expects the board to vote.
My inclination is to say that they're going to have to support the majority of the recommendations from the superintendent. But I guarantee you, since this was announced yesterday, they are being bombarded, they meaning the school board members, they're being bombarded by calls and emails and text because people are very comfortable reaching out to their board members and expressing their opinions about whether it's closing schools, cutting jobs, doing whatever.
Corbett says the actual number of job cuts most likely would exceed 300. He says that number is just the central office positions alone. The public board meeting on the cuts is next Tuesday night. People are allowed to speak. Exclusive for you right now here at 11 o'clock. The missing link in Kentucky's medical cannabis industry is now up and running. We're talking about cannabis processors. They turn the raw material right into the products. We have an exclusive first look at the first center to open. It's in northern Kentucky, here in Dayton, Kentucky, 15 minutes away from Cincinnati. WHAS 11's Alexandra Goldberg and photojournalist Levi Hammer got an inside look at the lab today.
In a matter of weeks, this cannabis processor in northern Kentucky could be the very first to put THC gummies on the shelves. These are unmedicated, but soon they'll be used as medicine to help thousands of patients in the state.
No one ever expects like real sciencey looking stuff with cannabis.
At the Toro Infused Lab in Dayton, Kentucky, the only processor so far in the bluegrass, it all starts with raw material shipped in from Kentucky cannabis farmers.
So over here we have our intake.
Then machines extract THC, described as the intoxicating or medicinal part of the plant.
So this would be like the oil rigs, and then everything else would be like the refineries where we're refining it to a final product.
Turned into edible gummies sold in medical cannabis dispensaries.
All of the molds say THC on the bottom.
This processing facility is what CEO Mario Gadea says was the missing link from seed to sale. And they're the first in the state to get up and running.
We intend to be able to fill the shelves and keep the shelves full.
Right now, only 2 dispensaries in the state are selling products to patients. The Post in Beaver Dam temporarily closed because they ran out of product. Speakeasy in Lexington is only selling flower, the dried, cured buds from the female plant.
A processor opens up a whole lot of various products that can go to customers.
Director of Extraction Donnie Patara says these gummies could hit stores in 2 weeks. Vapes and concentrates will come later.
It's definitely a big undertaking, and we feel the pressure, feel all the eyes on us, and we're hoping to deliver.
Gadea has been involved in the cannabis industry in Arizona and Kansas City, where he currently lives. I asked him about his experience in the competitive licensing process.
We filled out several applications, and we actually weren't lucky enough to be one of those winners. We actually did have to deploy quite a bit of capital to be able to purchase a license.
He says Toro Infused marks a new beginning for Kentucky patients.
Everybody say weed.
Weed! In Dayton, Alexandra Goldberg, WHAS11, on your side.
Now, I have to say that's the most unusual ribbon cutting I've ever seen around here in all these years. The CEO says he's hopeful that another batch of business licenses are going to be made available, saying specifically for cultivators who grow the raw material. At this point, the state has made no indication that more licenses will be released. Right here next on the night team, a second ICE shooting in Minneapolis, causing even more protests and a bigger ICE presence. Our exclusive interview with Morgan McGarvey and why he and other lawmakers are bringing impeachment claims to Secretary Kristi Noem.
And here's a check of today's Kentucky Lottery jackpots. Mega Millions, $230 million. Powerball, $179 million.
The Kentucky Lottery, funding education for over 1 million Kentucky students.